Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we will learn about Amazon EC2. My name is Aishwarya Sood and I am working as a lead coach in the AWS domain. I am 3x AWS certified and also an AWS Academy accredited educator. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile name is given here and you can also scan this QR code to directly view my profile. So here's the agenda for today's video. We will be first learning about what virtual machines are and then we will proceed towards what is Amazon EC2, different pricing options that are available for Amazon EC2, all the concepts that come within the launch process of EC2 and all the related concepts, and how to get started with Amazon EC2 by launching your first EC2 instance on AWS console, and all about AMIs, which are Amazon Machine Images, and then how to automate the process of AMI creation using this EC2 Image Builder. All these things and many more we will be discussing in today's video. So let's begin quickly with our today's video with the first topic, virtual machines. So before we begin learning about Amazon EC2, let's have a quick overview of what virtual machines are. We have a process known as server virtualization, which is a process of dividing a physical server into multiple unique and isolated virtual servers, where each virtual server can run its own operating systems independently. Basically, what we used to have previously, this is one physical server on which each application was hosted. Let's say this is one server. On this one operating system will be there and one application will be hosted, and that will be serving the request of the users. But now after the server virtualization concept and the concept of virtual machines, what we have got, this single server will be now virtualized, which means on this single server itself we will be able to run a lot of virtual machines. This is one physical server, but all of the machines that are running on this single server, they will be known as the virtual machines. They won't be present physically, but they will be inside this itself. So basically, earlier this single server was used for just one purpose, but since now the virtualization has happened, that means, let's say this is another virtual machine, this will be hosting one application, this is another virtual machine, this will be hosting another application, and this is another virtual machine. Here the another application will be hosted, and same way for the other virtual machines as well. It depends on the server capacity, the physical server capacity, that what are the number of virtual machines that can be there on a single server. Okay, so basically earlier it was just used for one purpose. Now it can be used for multiple purposes, because on a single physical server itself we can have multiple virtual machines for different applications and operating systems. Now, how do we get this on AWS? Here's the answer: Amazon EC2. It is a web server under the compute category of AWS that provides resizable compute capacity in the cloud. It is nothing but the virtual machine available for our use on AWS and is named as EC2 Instance. But what does EC2 mean? It stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So here elastic refers to the fact that you can easily increase or decrease the number of servers that you run to support an application automatically, and you can also increase or decrease the size of existing servers as well. Compute refers to the reason that why most users run servers in the first place, which is to host running applications or to process the data, actions that require compute resources, including any kind of processing power like CPUs and memory like RAM. And cloud refers to the fact that the EC2 instances that you run are hosted in the cloud. So this is how the name of the EC2 instance is formed. EC2 will also provide you a true virtual computing environment, allowing you to use a web service interfaces to launch the instances that we will see later in the demo, and with a variety of operating systems, load them with your custom application environment or manage your network access permissions as per your requirement, and run your image using as many or few systems as you desire. All kinds of customizations will be available here because this is a infrastructure as a service category service. Okay, that means you will be getting a lot of control here. And choose which instance types you want, then start, terminate and monitor as many instances of your AMI as needed. So what's an AMI? That also we will be learning later in the session. And you can also configure the security and network access on your EC2 instances. Determine whether you want to run your EC2 instances in multiple locations, or you want to use any kind of static IP endpoints, or you want to attach any persistent storage to your instance. Again, the most important point about pricing of EC2 is that you pay only for the resources that you actually consume, like the instance hours or the data transfer. Nothing else. It is not a complex thing. You just pay as you go. More details about pricing we will be learning later. And when you migrate to the cloud, you get a lot of options, good options. So about EC2, it is just like your traditional on-premises server, but it is available in the cloud. It can support workloads such as web hosting, databases, applications, authentication services, and anything else that a server can do. Anything that you can do with the server that is there on your on-premises, same things you can do with the EC2 instance as well. Now let's have a little look on like what is the difference between the virtual machine and the physical servers. With physical servers, there come a few challenges such as relatively high cost of server purchase, maintenance, and also your IT staff will be responsible for setup, configuration, maintenance on a continuous basis, and you may also need to hire a contractor or a vendor for help if you have difficulty with the configuration or repairs, and users cannot scale storage in the small increments once you reach the maximum workload, since you purchase and own the hardware and they require physical or co-location space as well. But on AWS, servers, database, storage, and higher level application components can be instantiated within just seconds. You just go to the service, you configure it as per your requirements, and the service will be yours. You will be getting the capacity as per your requirement. You can treat these as the temporary and the disposable resources, free from the inflexibility and constraints of a fixed and finite IT infrastructure which was there on the on-premises in the form of virtual machines, in the form of physical servers and all the hardware that was there. This resets the way you approach change management, testing, reliability, and capacity planning. So all of these things, very like high flexibility, a lot of benefits you are going to get on the cloud, especially when you are using the virtual machines and you think of it with comparison to the physical servers. So till now we have understood a few things about EC2 instances. Let's now understand how we exactly launch an EC2 instance. In the launch process of an EC2 instance, the first step is to select an AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image, which provides the information that is required to launch an EC2 instance, and you must specify a source AMI when you launch an EC2 instance, and you can launch multiple instances also from a single AMI, and when you need multiple instances with the same configuration. You can also use different AMIs to launch different types of instances. For example, I might have one AMI to implement web server instances and another one to implement application server instances. But what exactly is this AMI including? It is nothing but a template which includes the following things. One or more elastic block store volumes will be there, okay, which is also known as EBS volumes, or a template for the root volume, okay, like what will be the root volume of the instance that you are getting, and also the operating system will be there. The other pre-installed software also will be there. I will show you on the console that what are the different things that are included in this. Apart from this, there will be launch permissions also included in the AMI. So this will be included, like who can use this AMI to launch their EC2 instances, and also a block device mapping will be included in the AMI itself that will specify the volumes that are needed to be attached to the instance when it's launched. That was a very basic thing about AMI. To understand more, let's look into a little more things about AMIs. Like what are the 3 ways to get your AMI? We have multiple ways, okay, like we can have the pre-built AMIs which are like the Amazon built one. So Amazon offers a number of pre-built AMIs which you can use to launch your instances. They are available in the list when you would start to launch the instance. You get a list of AMIs, and these AMIs include Linux, Windows options, and various other operating systems with various sub options to tailor your setup, like different pre-installed software and multiple other things. Another way to get the AMI is to get it from the AWS marketplace. This is a place which offers a digital catalog with thousands of software solutions listed. Let's say you want some third-party software which you want to run on your EC2 instance, and for that the AMI is not available in the pre-built section. So what you can do, you can go to the AWS marketplace, search for that software. Maybe that might be made available in the marketplace by the vendor of that software. So what you can do, you can just get that and get that AMI from the marketplace and run that software on your EC2 instance. That also is possible. Another option is to create your own AMI. Like if you want more customizations, your preferred software is not available in the pre-built, also not on the marketplace, and you want different combinations, different kinds of customizations for your AMI. What you can do, you can create your own AMI. We have two procedures for creating our own AMI. One is like to launch an EC2 instance by using a pre-built AMI, okay, which will be serving as a base for your instance. Then launch an EC2 instance from that AMI, okay, and once done, connect to that EC2 instance and launch any, like install any customized software that you wanted, and take a snapshot of that EC2 instance and convert it to AMI. This is a manual process, but another process is quite simple and more efficient one, which is EC2 Image Builder, which we will be talking about in the next slide. Okay, and apart from these three options, we have one more option, which is community AMIs, which are the AMIs which are built by other users of AWS. Okay, let's say your friend has created an AMI, okay, and he has given you the permission to launch an EC2 instance from that AMI. That AMI will be categorized under the community AMIs. And a few features of the AMIs: it provides you repeatability because instances that are launched from the same AMI are exact replicas of one another. Okay, let's say you create 5 instances from the same AMI, so those 5 instances will be having similar configurations altogether. And reusability, you can use the same AMI to launch multiple instances. Recoverability, because an AMI is perfect for replacing failed machines with the new instances created from the same AMI. Okay, let's say you created an EC2 instance from one AMI and later, due to some issues, that instance has failed. So what you can do with that same AMI, you can again launch an EC2 instance. That's how you can recover it. Then marketplace solutions, as I told you, multiple third-party software and a lot of AMIs are available here also. Backups, AMIs also provide a great way to backup a complete EC2 instance configuration, which you can use to launch a replacement instance in the event of a failure. Okay, once you have created your EC2 instance and you are working on it, what you can do, you can take a snapshot of that EC2 instance, convert it to AMI and store it somewhere, so that later if you need, the previous instance has failed, you can launch the EC2 instance from the AMI that you created. Okay, and now coming to the EC2 Image Builder. As I told you that to create your own AMI, you will have two options. One, to launch an instance from the base AMI, log into the instance and then install any needed software, do any required modifications, and then take the snapshot and create an AMI out of it. That is a manual process which is quite inefficient. But the second way, and a better way, is to use EC2 Image Builder. So what does it do? It simplifies the building, testing and deployment of the virtual machine and container images for use on AWS or even on the on-premises. Keeping virtual machine and container images up to date can be a little time consuming, resource intensive and error prone when you are doing it with the manual methods. But Image Builder significantly reduces the effort of keeping images up to date and secure by providing a simple graphical interface, built-in automation, and also the AWS provided security settings. So we will see all of this on the AWS console in a while. Okay, like how to set this up and how to automate the process of AMI creation. And moreover, this EC2 Image Builder is available for free of cost. You just pay for the AMI storage and the instances that you create from the AMIs that you created from the EC2 Image Builder. So now let's get to a demo and let's see how we can automate the image creation with the EC2 Image Builder on AWS console. So here on the AWS console, we need to search EC2 Image Builder and we will be redirected to the Image Builder console. So we first have to create an image pipeline where we will create a recipe for the AMI, okay, which includes all the build components, all the test components, okay, which will specify the customizations that we have asked to install. So let's create an image pipeline here. Here I have to give a name to the pipeline. Let me give it as sample. Okay, you can add a description optionally here, and for this, for build schedule, you can specify three things. Okay, you can either schedule the builder, that when the pipeline should run, okay, the specific week, day and the time you can specify, or you can also specify a cron expression, or you can run the pipeline manually, which is a quite simple one. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, we will let it to be the manual itself. I will create the pipeline and I will run it manually. Here I can add the tags, and this is optional only, so we can skip it as of now and then click on next. We just have given the name to our pipeline, yet nothing else. Okay, that was the first step. Now for the recipe, we can either use an existing recipe. Okay, right now I just have one recipe that I have in my account, but I won't be using that. I will create a new recipe for this demo. Okay, so how do we create a new recipe? First, I have to select whether I am creating an AMI or a container image. Okay, whether it is an AMI or the Docker image. So since we are creating the AMI, let it be the AMI option itself. Then what is the name of this recipe that you want to give? Let's say I give the sample config as the name. You can add the description also. Then the base image, what you want to use. You can use a managed image, which are already available here. Okay, or apart from this, you can enter a custom AMI ID which you have created. Okay, that AMI's ID you can write, or you can import your virtual machine image that you have already in as a base image. You can import it by clicking here. But for now, we will be selecting a managed image. We have got these many options. So I'll go ahead with the Linux itself. Okay, so you can select Windows, Ubuntu, or any of the options that are there. Then image origin. Are the images owned by me or the images shared with me? And like I told you, the community AMIs, these are the images that I have created. No, I'll be using the quick start images that AWS has created, which are the pre-built AMIs. Okay, so I will select a base image that AWS has already created. I will use that AMI as a base image. So let's say I will select the Linux 2. Okay, so I can specify, do I need to use a latest available OS version or any selected, or do I want to specify? Okay, so that is up to me. I can define all these configurations, and apart from this, I can also specify the instance configuration. Like this image builder will be requiring to use AWS Systems Manager as a part of the build process. So do we want to remove this agent from this pipeline after the execution or not? We can select if we want to remove it, okay, from the image that we get as output, the AMI. If we want to pass any user data, we can pass it here. Okay, what's user data? Don't worry, we are yet to learn in the slides. And then working directory, let it be /tmp only. Here comes the main part. Now what are the extra components which I want as a part of my customization? Okay, you can see a lot of components will be available here. You can say Amazon managed, owned by me, or the shared by me. You can change the pages and lot of components will be available. Let's say I want the Python to be installed in my AMI. Okay, so for that what will I do? I will search with the Python name. Let me see if it's there. Yes, Python is available. So I will select this. This component will be included in my AMI. That will be come out as a output image. Then these are my selected components. You can select more components here. Okay, right now I am selecting only one. Then comes to the test components. Do you want to run any tests after the AMI has been created? Okay, you can create your own test component, or you can select from the available that are managed by Amazon itself. So let me say I want a simple boot for my Linux instance. Yes, this will be fine. Okay, it will just boot my EC2 instance and check if the AMI that I am creating, is it working? Is it possible to launch the proper EC2 instances from this AMI, or like everything is fine? So this will just test that. And then storage volumes you can add here. Okay, if you want any additional volumes to be added, this is a root volume that is that they have configured. If you want any new volume, you can add it from this option, and then you can give the tags to this configuration. Once done, select the next option. It is saying that the recipe version, okay, the error, I missed one thing here. The recipe version I have to specify. Okay, so it should be in this format. Let me give it as 1.0.0 itself. Okay, so here let me now try to create it. So yes, that was right, and now it has been created. Now it is asking for me to define the optional instance, the infrastructure configurations, where I can define some roles and the EC2 instance configurations that I want. Okay, but we can use the default ones also. We can use an existing one, or we can create a new infrastructure configuration as well. Okay, you can define all of these things here. But right now I'll be using the default ones. So it will create a role also for me with the appropriate permissions, which this image builder will be requiring to create my pipeline and to proceed the work further. Then I click on next, and here I can define the distribution settings, that in which regions the AMI should be distributed. Okay, where I want to keep it. Right now it is selecting, it has selected the default. I can use the existing one. I can create a new distribution settings as well. I can specify the regions. I can specify the license configuration. Like this will grant the user a predefined license with which to execute the pipeline and launch instances using its custom image. And then all these things you can add, but right now we will be using the defaults itself, and then click on next. Now we just review that, okay, these are the settings that we have made, and then click on create pipeline. So this will take some time, like pipeline will be created immediately, but to run the pipeline and to test it, it will need some time. Okay, you can see the pipeline has been created. Now if I select it and if I run it, let me run the pipeline. Now it will go through various stages. Okay, building, testing and distribution. At the beginning of the building phase, and instances started to execute the necessary scripts as defined in the build component. Okay, so if we look on to the EC2 instances page now, it would have created a build instance to check if it is working. Then it will create a test instance. Okay, build instance for running the defined script, and then it will start the test instance when this is done. So let me go to the EC2 instances and see if it has started the process. And here we can check it by opening what's the status. It is currently building. So let me check the instances now. Yes, you can see an instance is available, build instance for sample config. Okay, so this instance is running and running the script that we provided. Okay, and after this is terminated, the another instance will start, that is a test instance. Okay, so this will take some time. I'll leave it as it is, and then we will start the EC2 creation process. Okay, so let this AMI be created. What we will do, we will launch an EC2 instance right now with the pre-built AMI that is available. Okay, so to make you understand different concepts that come in the launch process of EC2. So what we have to do in order to launch our first EC2 instance, just go to this option, launch instances, and first option will come to select an AMI. You can see quick start AMIs, which are the pre-built AMIs, then my AMIs that you have created. Okay, soon here the this AMI will also be available, the sample one which we are creating. Then marketplace, you can search for your preferred software if you want. Community AMIs that are shared to me by other users. So here I'll go ahead and select the quick start AMI itself. The Linux 2 AMI I will select. Otherwise there are Mac OS available. You can see Red Hat, Ubuntu, Windows, and a lot many are available. So let's select this Linux 2 AMI. It contains the details of the operating system, the root device, the root volume details, and the virtualization type, and what kind of architecture do we need for this, and any pre-installed software that is there. Okay, let's select this one, and next comes the instance type. So for this, let's go back to the PPT. As of now, I will explain, and then we will come back to this console. So AWS provides us with a lot of instance types. So what basically are they? Like, there are different server types, you can say, available depending on what are the capacities that they are having. Like, some will be having high number of CPUs, some instances will be having high amount of memory, some instances will be having high amount of storage. Depending on various cases, we can select our preferred instance types. Let's have a look at some of the instance types that are available, but there's a long list. You can just check it out on the AWS console if you want more details. Okay, let's say T2 family is here, which comes under the general purpose. So these family instances are good for the balanced workloads, like nothing much, not much CPU, not much memory, not much storage, nothing. All the resources will be balanced. We have got compute optimized, where there will be more number of CPUs. It is for more compute capacity if we want. Then we have got memory optimized, which means if we want more memory in our EC2 instance, we can go for these instance types. Then accelerated computing, if we have very high performance computing applications which needs to process the graphics, which are like machine learning workloads, for these kind of cases, or for gaming, okay, for that also we can go for accelerated computing instances. Then coming to the storage optimized, if we want much amount of the storage, in that case we can go for the storage optimized instances. You can check about the different use cases for each of them, but I gave you a brief overview. And what's there in the name of an EC2 instance? Let me tell you. See, here is the T, which is the family, which indicates the family. Okay, T type and M type is coming under the general purpose. So T is standing for tiny or turbo. M here is for main or for medium. Okay, let's say in compute optimized, C is for compute, R in memory optimized is for RAM, and same way for others. Okay, then what is this 2? What is this 5? This is a generation number. There are multiple generations of each instance type will keep coming, and this generation number will be there to indicate the generation, so that we can just understand what's the generation. Accordingly, there will be the features, and the proper name of an EC2 instance will be like this. Let me show you on the list. The proper name will be like this: T2.nano, T2.micro, T2.small, and if we scroll down, multiple other names as well. So what does this name means? T means the family type, okay, like what family does it belong to? Like we know that T belongs to general purpose family. 2 is the generation number, and this dot after dot, this is the size. Okay, like it starts from nano, it goes all the way till 24x large. Okay, first we have got nano, then micro, small, medium, large, x large, 2x large, all the way to 24x large. We can have the sizes of each EC2 instance. So how are they all different from each other? Depending on the capacity. First, T2.micro is having 1 CPU and 1 GB of memory. If I scroll down, this T3.2x large is having 8 CPUs and 32 GB of memory. Same way, if I scroll down, I have bigger instances also, like this one, 96 CPUs and 192 GB of memory. So depending on your needs and the use case, you can go for any of the instance types that is available here. For this demo, let's go ahead with the T2.micro itself. Let's go to the next step, that is configuring the instance details. So for this, let's go back to the slides for now. We have got high performance storage and enhanced networking with the EC2 instances. So for storage with EC2 instance, we have got multiple options. The most common option is to use a EBS volume, which provides easy to use high performance block storage for use with the EC2. It is available in different types of volumes that allow you to optimize the storage performance and the cost of your workloads. There's another option also, which is known as instance store, which persists only as long as the instance is alive. Okay, but once we stop the instance, the data in the instance store will be lost. But if you want a persistent storage, you can go ahead and use a EBS volumes. Apart from this, AWS is the first and only cloud to offer 400 Gbps enhanced Ethernet networking for compute instances. Okay, and this enhanced networking will enable you to get significantly higher packet per second, lower network jitter and lower latency. And these all configurations we can select when we reach to this step, which we were on the console, configuring the instance details. Let's look into all the options one by one, which are relevant to the scope of this video. Number of instances, how many I want only one instance. You can specify the number that you want. We can create a max of 20 instances per region, but that's a soft limit. We can get it increased by requesting to AWS. What is a purchasing option? This we are yet to learn on the PPT. We have different pricing options with EC2, which we will see later. What's the network in which VPC we want to keep our EC2 instance? In which subnet we want to keep our EC2 instance? If we want to auto assign a public IP or we want to disable it, just remember that a public IP will be required for this EC2 instance to be accessible by the internet. Then this we can leave. Placement group also we can leave, but this is like if we want to control how and like where our EC2 instances will be placed on the underlying hardware. If we have multiple instances, then we can go ahead with the placement group and we can select the placement group that is available. Okay, the 3 types of placement groups that are there, we can select from this. Okay, so here we can specify the IAM role. Do our EC2 instance needs any permission? Okay, we can select the permission from here. Right now it doesn't need, so I'm leaving it as none. Then shutdown behavior, stop or terminate, we can select from here. Then apart from this, we can select what kind of monitoring do we want. Okay, the basic monitoring is enabled by default, that is available for free. If you want a detailed monitoring, we can select, but this will be charged. Then enable the termination protection. So this is like if you want to protect your EC2 instance from the accidental termination. Okay, like if somebody tries to terminate your EC2 instance, it will ask that you can't delete this EC2 instance because the termination protection is on. So basically it is adding one more step in the termination of EC2 so as to protect from the accidental termination. Then advanced details, we have got one amazing feature here, the user data. So for user data, let's go back to the slide and let's discuss first and then we will pass the user data. So user data is like when you are creating your EC2 instances, you have the option to pass the user data like we just saw. It is a script that can automate the completion of the instance launch. Okay, for example, you want to do some task at the instance launch itself. It can patch and update the instance AMI, fetch and install any software license keys or install any additional software. Okay, it is implemented as a shell script. Basically some things that you want to be automated. Okay, when you first connect to your EC2 instance, these things you want to be done already. not after logging to EC2 instance. Not, you don't want to do this after that time. You want that when I first connect to my EC2 instance, some task should be already done. Okay, so that things we can pass in the user data. So let's pass some sample user data to our EC2 instance. I have a sample user data. What is this doing? It is installing all the updates for the existing software that are there. And what else it is doing? It is starting the Apache server, and it is also it is saying that it should start, HTTP service should start whenever the EC2 instance is started again. And it is creating a file with the index.html name, which is hello world. I have launched this EC2 instance with the user data. So it will be available in this directory. Basically, this page will be hosted on my EC2 instance, and I will be able to just check it on the EC2 instance IP address. So one thing I think I have missed here. Yes, now it is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the storage. Okay, so for storage we can say like one root volume will be there, which is containing your operating system, and this is a configuration for it. But we can add an additional volume if we want additional storage with our EC2 instance by selecting from here. Okay, right now I don't want any, so I leave it as default. Then I can add the tags. That is nothing but the key value pair, which will uniquely identify my EC2 instance. Let me say demo instance will be the name of my EC2 instance. Then I say configure security group, which is nothing but the firewall of my EC2 instance. Okay, like from what ports the traffic will be allowed to enter to my EC2 instance. I can specify all the ports here. I can create the security group, new security group, or I can select an existing security group. Right now I already have an existing security group, so I'll go ahead and select that itself, web server. What I have allowed in this, that on TCP, on the SSH port, the source is anywhere. Okay, source means from where the traffic should be allowed, from what IP address range the traffic should be allowed, and what port. Okay, what's the type of this, and what's the protocol. We just have to specify the type, and this protocol and port range will come automatically. Source we have to specify. We can add a description also. Here I have to just specify from which IP address this traffic will be allowed. Here I have to specify from which type of port the traffic should be allowed. Okay, you just have to specify only the things that you want to allow. There are no deny rules. Okay. Then apart from this, this is an inbound rules. Okay, that what traffic can come inside. Outbound you don't need to anything, because everything is allowed for outbound by default. Then click on review and launch. Okay, all the settings we review, and then click on launch. It is now asking me to create a new key pair. Okay, so key pair is like a pair of public and a private key pair, that is like this will let you SSH into your EC2 instance. Okay, if you have this, you will be able to connect to your EC2 instance from your local system through a SSH agent. Okay, right now I'll be proceeding without a key pair itself, and I will show you that how we can connect to our EC2 instance from the EC2 console itself. Okay, so we will launch our instance now. Now our instance is launching. Let me click on view instance. Yes, this EC2 instance is in the pending state, and you can see the previous image builder instance, one is terminated and one is now just stopping. That means this is the process is done. And let me refresh what's happening here. So this process seems to be complete. Okay, this is testing. Soon it will be terminated and the image will be ready. So this demo instance we just created. So for this, what we have to do, you can see this is already running. It's just few seconds that we clicked on launch instance, and now the instance is running. Okay, this is how fast is that. This means we have now the EC2 instance, the server available on AWS very quickly. So what are the details that we have got for this EC2 instance? You can see in the bottom half of the screen all the details, the instance ID, the public IP address of the EC2 instance, the private IP, and the domain name. Okay, the instance state. Instance can be in multiple states. Running means it is currently in the working state. It can be in the stopped state, which is a kind of sleep for your EC2 instance. It can be in the terminated state also, which means permanently deleted. Okay, termination means permanent delete, stop means a temporary stop, and the running means it is in the working state. Okay, apart from this, you can see what instance type you selected, what AMI you selected, everything you can select from here, and then other details about the security. Here you can check the security group, then networking, which VPC it is kept in, which subnet it is kept in, what is the public IP, private IP, what is the storage that I have defined. Everything can be checked from here. Okay, so here on the public IP address, if we open, we can see that web page that we given as a part of the user data. Okay, you just host a website on your EC2 instance the same way, and this will be accessible from this public IP address. So now how do we connect to our EC2 instance? This is my EC2 instance I have selected. I have to click on this option. This is where I can click and connect it through the EC2 console itself. Again, click on connect and it will take me to a EC2 instance terminal. Since I selected the Linux EC2 instance, so this is how it is looking. Okay, I can run all the commands here. I will run a command in a while. Let me tell you about one more topic here. Okay, now what is metadata? Okay, metadata is like the details about your EC2 instance. User data was a script that we passed at the EC2 instance launch time so that few tasks could be done already. Like we hosted a simple web page on the EC2 instance during the launch process itself. Okay, now metadata is the details about your EC2 instance. How do we fetch it? There is a command that we can use. Let me show you that command. That command is same for user data and the metadata. Okay, so here I go. I have that command curl http://169.254.169.254/latest/meta-data. Okay, so this command is used to fetch the metadata of your running EC2 instance. Same way for the user data. Just replace this meta with the user and you will be able to see the user data that you passed at the EC2 launch time. So I click enter. You can see it is asking me what metadata do I want. Let me say I want the public IPv4. Okay, let me give this. So it will return that. You can see it has returned the public IPv4 of my EC2 instance. Anything that I want to know about my EC2, I can just get from here. That is a metadata. Now if you want to host something, you want to host your website here, whatever you want to do, all the commands can be done here itself. Okay, so this is a simple launch process of the EC2 instance and all the steps that come within it. Now let's go back to the slides and discuss the purchasing options that we have got for the EC2. So first option that we have got is on-demand instances. It is like a very flexible one. Whenever we want the EC2 instances, we can get it. Whenever we do not want, we can just terminate them. Okay, that's it. Nothing complex, no reservations, nothing. Apart from this, we have got the spot instances. So these are the instances that are available at up to a 90% of discount as compared to the on-demand instances. Okay, so these are the instances which are available for the flexible start and time workloads, which are like not very critical because this discounted price comes with a twist. AWS can pull the plug anytime and they can terminate the spot instances with just a 2-minute of warning. Okay, this is like any unused EC2 instance capacity is there with AWS. You request for it at a bid price, let's say. Okay, if you get that unused EC2 capacity, you own the EC2 capacity in the form of spot instances, for which the pricing will be a discounted price. But the thing is that EC2 instance which has come to you as a spot instance, it will be taken back any time from you when AWS needs it for other purposes, when some other customers are there for higher purchasing options. Okay, apart from this, we have got reserved instances. where we can reserve the EC2 instance capacity for a period of either 1 year or 3 years. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that, nothing in between. Exactly either for 1 year or for 3 years. We say that continuously for 3 years or 1 year, I'll be using this much of EC2 instance capacity. So you can get here up to 72% of the discount if you choose a reserved instances. Then comes the savings plan. Here what you can do, it is quite similar to the reserved instances but with a lot of flexibility. It also gives you up to 72% of the discount. Here you commit to a usage for dollars per hour, that for a period of either 1 year or 3 years, I'll be using this much of dollars per hour capacity of the EC2 instance. So, but this is independent of the region, the EC2 instance family, the size, anything. You can take any EC2 instance size, family and type, and this will be applicable to all of them. Okay, whereas in reserved instances, it is not. Then we have got something known as dedicated host. So in all the EC2 instance purchasing options that I told you, there is a shared tenancy. That means your EC2 instances will be running on a hardware that is shared by other people also. One hardware will be there where many people's EC2 instances will be running. But if you want a server dedicated for your use only, okay, you want that physical hardware that on which your EC2 is running, it should be dedicated only to you. Only your EC2 instances should be running there. In that case, you can go for the dedicated host option. But this is the costliest of all, okay? Even costlier than the on-demand instances. So it is up to you. What is your use case? What are your requirements? And accordingly, you can choose the purchasing options for you. And now let's wrap up this session by discussing a few best practices about the EC2 instances. First of all, deploy the critical components of your application across multiple availability zones and replicate your data appropriately. Okay, if you want more availability from your application, keep your resources in multiple AZs and even multiple regions if required, and monitor and respond to the events that are happening. For example, the EC2 instance state has been changing. It is changing for running to stop or from stop to terminating. Or what are the other metrics? How much CPU is getting utilized for your EC2 instances? Same way, many other metrics. Keep monitoring, okay, so as to know what's best for you. How is your EC2 instance performing and working? And understand that you have to use auto scaling as well. Auto scaling is a feature that comes with the EC2 instances that you can implement, which is like you can automatically increase or decrease the number of EC2 instances as per the live workload requirements. If your workload right now requires 2 instances, it will keep 2 instances. If you want that when your workload goes high, the application traffic goes high and it will require 6 instances, so it will automatically launch the new instances. When your workload goes down, the traffic goes down, then your application needs only 2 or 3 instances, then it will terminate the extra instances and it will keep it to only 2 or 3 instances. Same way, increasing and decreasing of the EC2 instances can be done automatically with the help of auto scaling feature. Also implement the least permissive rules for your security group. Okay, it shouldn't be very permissive, it should be least permissive. Okay, so that only the required persons can log into your EC2 instance, not anybody else. And understand the implications of the root device type for the data persistent, backup and recovery. What kind of storage do you want? What should be the root volume? What should be the any additional volumes? How do you want to back up them? How do you want to persist them? Do you even want persistence or do you want the ephemeral storage? All these things you should keep in mind. Also ensure that you are prepared to handle the failover. Okay, for a basic solution you can manually attach a network interface to or maybe an elastic IP to a replacement instance. That can be done. And also for security, make sure you encrypt the EBS volumes and the snapshots that you have taken from the EBS volumes. Okay, so all of them are the few best practices that you can follow. There are many more because EC2 is very vast. Okay, we have only discussed a few concepts of EC2, but apart from this also there are many more concepts. But I hope for today's video whatever we have discussed, and that's it for this video. We will meet in the next video. Thank you.